2016 U.S. Amateur Championship. We are at Strokers Billiards in Palm Harbor in Florida. Brian Parks versus James Adams. This is Freddie Agnew, the corner man, with Steve Alejandro. Steve, is it Steven or is it Esteban?
A little bit of both, depending on who I'm talking to be honest with you. My last name's Alejandro, so I tell my my Spanish-speaking friends as Esteban Miguel Alejandro Sanchez is my
perfect,
name.
beautiful.
But I don't get living in St. Louis and doing what I do. I don't have too many.
It's Steve.
Yeah, it's pretty much Steve. Thank you for finishing that thought for me. I didn't know where to take it without sounding terrible.
You got it.
You got my back. I appreciate that about you.
I'm very big on trying to pronounce the players' names the way they pronounce it.
Sure.
I assume Brian Parks pronounces his name
Yes,
Brian
just
Parks,
like
but
it
for all I know, it's Brian Parks. You know, like that.
Well, he is from California. And I expect the chat to blow up at that comment.
There you go.
Though. I'm kidding. We love our Californians.
Brian just had a successful year over there. I believe he won the Mez Tour final, Oscar Dominguez Mez Tour. Brian Parks a break, playing 8-ball, race to 7. We go 5 games of 8-ball, and then the rest of it in 9-ball, race to 7. Second ball break. Dry.
Yeah, that's never good.
It's dry and it's wide open. Normally we take a look at what looks to be the toughest ball, and right now for low balls there's nothing tough. Absolutely nothing tough, and the toughest ball on the table for the stripe is probably the 9, which is a stretch, to call it tough. At this stage, I know it's tough. First game that I've sat down. It's the morning.
Oh yeah.
It's just before lunchtime. The sun is still out. You know, when
which
you're
is
playing in a pool hall.
Different way to play for most pool players.
When you're playing in a pool hall, and you can still see the sun. It's very difficult to play a tournament. I can tell you that right now. I expect James Adams to run out here like it's like water, but then again, this is his very first shot.
You see him sizing up the table here.
Yeah, like I said, nothing's blocked. There's no tough ball. I could invent a tough ball, the 6-ball.
Sure. And this is a pretty important decision in this rack. I mean, this is it.
That's right. I mean, if we consider 8-ball a very run-out game, this is the ideal situation. Unfortunately for James, this is what seems to be a very simple rack. It's one shot against Brian. You can't make a mistake on this rack.
Yeah, no.
At least that's how you have to look at it.
Kind of same thing as we were watching the last match. Alvin kept talking about, Stottlemyre doesn't want to miss a ball because the opponent that's sitting down right now will run out 4 or 5 racks on you if you give him the opportunity to get back to the table.
That's right. One of the interesting things that's happened here is the bottom 3 solid balls, the 4, 5, and 7. Sometimes the 2 balls, the 7 and the 5 hanging out next to each other, can tend to be difficult to play position if they're the last 2 balls. I like this idea. Once he takes this 5-ball out, there's
Solid
no problem. The 3-ball ends up being the next issue because it's in the middle of the table. You clear the path. So I expect him to be playing for the 3. And the nice thing about 8-ball is you can play for a few balls here.
Gotcha. So he's going to go 3 on the side here, or you think he's going down?
I think he was trying for 3 on the side, but he went too far, and he come up short for the 2-ball because the 2-1 pair ends up being the same things that we talked about with the 5 and the 7. So now he's going to have to draw straight back. This is going to be crucial because he's now starting to run out of balls to get perfect on. What I was saying with this being his first game up there is, even though he was out here practicing, now it's the dynamic of shooting a rack and getting used to the table. Got nice on the 3 here. Again, the 3-ball, because it's in the middle of the table, is only a slight problem. It's not a big problem. It's just a little bit of issue he has to work with. 1-ball follow here. Oh, I guess he already had the angle, so he didn't have to follow at all, so that he can hit this cue ball with the 6-ball and just slide to the left. Barely slide to the left. I think he wants the 2-ball next. This would be a nice way to start off the TV match, the stream match, for him and for us.
Couple of comments from the chat. We have Davis Sapalis saying there are no such thing as simple racks.
Yeah, right. And shout out to my good friend Blackjack Dave Sapalis. Here comes that 2-ball, 1-ball pair side by side as the last balls. This does get tricky for most players, but he came up perfect on the 2-ball, being dead straight, and therefore he can handle it. So he definitely recognized, and I like the way he walked around the table to make sure he's staring at his angles. He's doing it again.
That's something I had the pleasure of shooting some training videos with Lee Brett, and that was always a big thing that he would talk about. Just don't be a table hugger.
Yes.
Definitely walk around, see it from a farther point of view than being right. You're going to
This
see
beautiful.
things
Here he goes
differently.
again. He's going to go and just to see whether or not he can just slide or has to go across. And it looks like he can play a very standard low right hand English right to the center of the table. Most people shoot with low right here. You don't need to, but because it's so repeatable, I suppose people will always do this. Just barely cozy this right to the center of the table. Very nice pattern. I like how much time you spent to begin with and really recognize a couple of those problem areas. The 5-7 pair, the 1-2 pair, getting perfect on the 2 at the end, dead straight on the 8. This is how you want to play this game.
Sure. Let me ask, as I'm a lower skilled player, obviously, and then so when he was looking around at when making that initial decision to decide which way to go, players at this level, they see the whole rack, how it ends in their head.
Yes, the whole
That's
rack,
crazy.
the whole
That's
rack.
awesome.
But at the same time, you have to be able to reanalyze after every shot.
In case something doesn't roll the way that you want.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right.
I know. Speaking for the 3s and 4s out in the APA league, it's pretty crazy to be able to see that many balls ahead.
Well, I totally get it. You know, I work with a bunch of players in San Diego, and we discuss these things like ad nauseum. On that last game, for example, he shot the 5 ball first, and he wanted to get to the 3 ball, and he overran it. And I'm sure if we look back at this, he will tell us that he was trying to get dead straight on the 3 ball, and he overran just slightly, and he had to change his pattern. 8 ball allows you to recover like that.
Seems like we're having some technical difficulties here. We're going to try to get that wrapped up for you, having some sound issues.
Oh, no.
Kind of like we were talking about prior to the, then we'll get those resolved.
We'll get those resolved.
Test, 1, 2. I guess we got to keep talking so they can.
Okay, so that's right. We have to keep on talking to make
so
sure they can hear us.
Yeah.
You
They'll
know,
let me know if not.
back to Blackjack's comment that there are no easy racks. Absolutely correct. And when I say easy, I'm saying relatively for a certain rack. If you wanted one that you're supposed to be favored to run out at least, that was definitely one of them. Looks like James is going to go with the second ball break. Also, Brian did the second ball break from the other side and came up dry. Oftentimes at this level, it's whoever breaks the best or comes out best after the break. Well, here we go. Second ball break. He didn't hit him as hard as Brian did, and nothing's going to go in unless the 4 ball leaks in. Not exactly a wide open table here. Let's see what Brian considers. My initial thoughts here is that you play the low balls, the 2-4 combination, get above the 3 ball, and break out the 6. And then that might solve the riddle of this rack. 2-4 combination, I think. And see if he goes all the way above the 3 ball in the side pocket. And he's staring at the 3, and he's gonna shake his head a little bit, I think, because I believe he wants to be able to get a bump on the 6. One more revolution would have been beautiful. I think the beauty about this game of 8 ball is solving the riddle, as I call it.
Jeffrey DeLazzo asks for score graphics, number 1, which we can definitely do. And he also asked for the names of the players. The names of players are James Adams from right here in Florida. And then we have Brian Parks from California. Kind of East Coast, West Coast
East
battle
Coast,
going
West Coast,
on there,
right.
yeah?
That's right. And Brian was staring down the 3 because he needs to get above it. And as you see there, it's exactly what he did. Drew it right above it. And the hit on here, coming off of the ball into the side pocket like that, it gets a little bit tricky because it's tough to tell what angle you're coming off. It looks like he wants to hit the 6 ball right after this. Beautifully done, and he solved this rack. 2 ball was his insurance ball. If he was playing straight pool, that'd be his insurance. The 6 ball does go, so I expect this 7 and 6 to go right here because I believe the 7 and 6 are the tougher balls. And at this point, we'll just watch him run these last 4 balls, as at least I expect him to. Oh, he chunked that one a bit. I thought he was going to draw that back. He has the 2 ball for insurance. He just, now this rack is a little bit more difficult. As you can see him nodding there because he, I believe he wanted that 6 ball. And he hit that one a little thin, so he's slightly struggling here. He needs to get the 6 ball, which was the toughest ball on the table, is still there, and I know he'd already broken it out, and he needed something to get on that 6, and he had an opportunity with the 7. He didn't get there, and now coming off the hanging ball, the 2 ball, he didn't get there again because he bumped the 11.
Elizabeth Roberts asked from chat, is Brian wearing red? Yes, ma'am. Brian is wearing his signature red shirt. I don't think I've ever seen him on day 3 without that red shirt
on.
Doing
the Tiger Woods thing. Why not if it works?
Yep. I think if we can see, maybe not see this angle, but I think it's actually the company he works for's shirt.
Oh, okay.
At least it used to be.
Interesting shot here because he's landed with an angle on the 5, and he'd like to come back to and through the center of the table, but the 11 ball is a big ball there. So again, very interesting to see how he negotiates the 6 ball from here. He goes to the inside, he's got to hurry up, and he's come up short. Unless he was playing for the bank. Unless he was playing for the bank, which certainly is possible. It'd be a surprise, but then again, he did look down table or up table from the downside at that angle to the 8 ball. So he's going, this is the whole rack for him at this point. This 6 ball was the toughest ball on the table all through this rack. This is a bank and stick for the 8 ball in the corner pocket after this shot. Came up short.
Real quick, Timmy Bly asked, where is this located at? We are in Palm Harbor, Florida. It's Strokers. Beautiful Florida. One of the amazing reasons to try to qualify for this event. If you're interested in being able to qualify, it's poolplayers.com/USAM. There's a form on there. Fill that form out. We'll be able to send you the information about where the preliminary tournaments are, and hopefully we'll see you in sunny Florida in November, no less, which we did that on purpose.
I like it.
We're all snowbirds at the APA.
So again, Brian missed that bank, and you know, one of the worst things you can do in 8 ball is to shoot most of your balls off the table and then leave the table for your opponent. Safety on there. I don't know if he actually hooked him. Maybe Brian has a lick of paint to be able to touch this 6 ball. There's not many places you can play safe. There are entirely too many balls on the table. I suppose he could try to leave this cue ball in the upper right quadrant as we view this screen. Upper right quadrant is where I try to put it at least. Let's see where Brian tries. Brian actually had some kind of shot at that apparently because he shot like he could see that ball, but he overcut it, which is what it looked like. Looked like it only had some paint, not a full ball. No sellout, but easy safety if that's what James decides to do. James got to just make sure that he doesn't play a safety to a jump shot. He's got plenty of places to go that won't end up being an easy jump shot. I'm making that sound so easy. It's not easy at all.
Well, it's always easy from back here.
From back here, I've missed a handful of times, but only here in Florida. I think it's the humidity.
Of course, makes the table play differently, right? And the comments come out differently.
Right. So this is a tough jump because of the long distance, but easy to get over the ball, but hard to keep the ball on the table. I don't expect him to jump. Brian is staring it down as if he wants to pass it back. He's looking at the 1 rail slowly to the 6. In fact, if he's going to shoot that, he may call it.
Chat thinks he's going 2 rails.
Well, nothing he's doing right now looks like a 2-railer, and I would not disagree with the chat if Brian hadn't already eyed this one up. So I don't have great prognostication skills. I already
Ooh,
looked.
good word,
I,
prognostication. Well done,
I
Freddie.
just saw him eyeing it up. I don't believe he called the 6, but you can't tell. You know, he's hitting hard, like he's going to try to call that 6. And it's a ball in hand.
James Adam, which is always a scary prospect at this level, giving your opponent ball in hand.
Exactly. Now, it'd be interesting to see his pattern here, because what he's already up a game, and if he can run out easily, absolutely easily, without having to shake his head, without having to come with a power shot, no shot should be over, you know, a medium speed. That'll tell you how he's feeling. If he starts shaking his head and shaking his hand and huffing at each shot, then that also tells us where his head is at this point. But with a wide open rack like this, you'd expect him to run out by the numbers, as I call it.
Sure. Easy peasy, clean.
One of the mistakes that middle of the road players will make is using one of these the 9 or the 15 as the last ball of the 8. It seems so obvious to do that, and yet if you play for the, let's say in this case, the 15 as the last ball, it doesn't take much to be out of line on the ball to the side pocket. But if he left another ball, let's say the 10 ball, or the 13 ball, or the 14 ball as the last pocket.
Something a little closer to the middle of the table.
Yes, then you have
options
to work with that'll be heading towards the 8 ball as opposed to away from the 8 ball. But that being said, I'm sure the chat room is saying, of course you'll shoot the 15 in the side, and he'll get there because he's not a middle of the road player. He's a
Right.
a top player.
Right.
Big difference. All right.
And that's what I find is the biggest difference between, say, middle of the road and top level players, because middle of the road players can make shots. It's putting yourself in a position to make the shot is where I think that is the big disparity between, say, someone like me. Whereas I can hit a ball in the pocket, that's not a problem. But,
right.
you know, of course, if it's easily lined up. Now, putting my cue ball there and thinking 4 or 5 balls ahead, that's where my lat comes in. Which is why it's so much fun sitting here with someone like you, who's, you know, this is like a lesson for me, and I'm just soaking it all in. I hope Chad is soaking it all in too. It's a great opportunity to see some high-level play with some high-level commentary to really try to up your own game.
Right. Now, if he came up a little bit on underneath this ball, then it's the good angle to float up. See this line that he just put his cue stick down. Whatever that line was, he's got to be there or slightly above. But if he's below, then the cue ball will have to run where he didn't need to. See what happens here. Did he get there? We'll take a look. Looks like he's perfect from way over here. And a very nice run out.
Oh, it's the end of this rack, it seems like.
That's big. Brian is on the one-loss side. Yeah, this is the one-loss side.
I would have to confirm that. I'm not sure.
I thought he lost to Brett yesterday. Brett Stottlemyre.
If I remember correctly, I think maybe James is undefeated and Brian's in the one loss.
Well, it can't be. They'd have to be both. They'd have to be in the same bracket, right?
I'll have to go look.
The whole world will come here now. I did leave here with Brett on the hill against Brian, so I don't know how that ended up, so somebody can tell us.
I do know Brett, I think, was also in the, he won his last match at 9 o'clock. Talking about Stottlemyre, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, he definitely, in very convincing fashion.
Yeah, the last couple of matches, Brett was absolutely rolling it.
Very strong player.
I know he played on the stream earlier yesterday and was struggling, but I think he got through.
Chad helps us out. Brian Franklin says this is the winner side. Daniel Andrews, thank you. Mark Goki,
excellent,
thank you.
Brian Franklin is the APA operator out of San Diego County.
Heck yeah. And Brian, you still need to invite me out.
Well, I live in San Diego, so you're
guys should
invited
all
out.
Invite me out. I'd love to do some work in San Diego, especially this time of year. November's good for me, December.
I live in San Diego, and I have a house in St. Petersburg, so...
East Coast, West Coast. All right, we got Alva with a selfie over off camera. Oh, that's true. I guess it's not a selfie.
Not a selfie. It's a youth fee or something. I said we'll get that.
Daniel Andrews says Brian beat Brett 7-5. So that
I had the score. I had the score the other way. Then when I looked over there, I must have thought that Brett was on 6. Okay, thank you everybody. I hate to be giving out bad information.
Yep, chat. You always got to trust chat.
Meanwhile, back at the table here, dry break, and Brian up at the table. You can see here the 6 and 15 are the problem balls. The 15 can go, and the 6 can go only if you're down right below it. The first shot really isn't very obvious. there's the hand flip is the most often used gesture in pool. You have to be an expert at the hand flip. You have to time it right, or else the pool gods will punish you. First shot here is very tricky. He's probably the 12 ball all the way up table, and he knows that he's probably leaving the wide open table. The 15 only goes to the left, but the 9 ball can get to it. So he has to actually play position for one of these balls. Or he's got to play position for a good spot so that he can run out, and if he doesn't make this ball, he's just laid it up for his opponent. That's a gorgeous shot.
That was a good shot. Very pretty. Smooth like butter.
Hey, well, two things about Brian. One, his mechanics are excellent. Two, he's left-handed, and I don't care what anybody says. If you look at a right-hander in the mirror, they do not look like that. They do not look like that.
Sure.
It's the same thing with pitching in baseball. You can see, you look in the mirror, and the right-handed pitcher pitching looks like a right-handed pitcher in the mirror.
Sure.
And it doesn't look like a left-handed pitcher, right? There's something else that's going on, and what I want is the chat room to tell me what exactly that is.
There you go, chat. What is the biggest difference between right and left-handed players?
Yeah. The motion is different. And obviously it's a generality. It's most left-handed players.
So two people, equal skill. One's right-handed, one left-handed.
Left
all
players
all the variables are equal.
Left-handed players are better.
For the mental side, the psychology side, that's the left hand, right hand, left brain, right brain type of idea in this pool game. You can't be a strong pool player, I think, without strong right brain activity. You have to think this game. There's a artistic, magical thinking game.
See, in all of the educational stuff that I've shot, it's actually interesting you bring that up. Like Lee Brett says, think with your right brain. Is it right brain?
Right
that's
brain,
your analytical.
No, left brain is analytical, and right brain is
and
the
right brain
more of the artistic.
Sure.
Creative. That's
so
the word I was
left
looking
brain makes the decision of what you're going to do. Then you turn that off, and your right brain makes a shot. Is that how that works?
Well,
let's ask chat. Chat, tell us what's
they
up.
all balance. They all balance. Me and my very, very limited psychology training, I believe it was one class and one 20-year marriage.
But there's stories there, I bet. Yeah, I know Dr. Q's got quite a few episodes about right brain, left brain thinking.
Well, I've seen a million billion pool players, and I'll tell you that I've noticed over the years I'm very observant of everything. Left-handed players are smart players, and they're heck of great shot makers, and they're very natural pool players. But yeah, I agree with Freddie. You got to have that creative side as well, that artistic side. So the most balanced minds.
I think so.
So that what lends itself to problem solving is creative problem solving.
Yeah.
You got to have a peaceful mind. But like like a warrior, like a peaceful warrior, like they would say.
So I don't know if all of that discussion, if this lends credence to it, or is completely confirmed that it's not true, because I am an engineer, but I'm also a creative writing instructor.
Sure. So you are best of both worlds.
Mine is just observance and opinion.
You'd think I'd be a great pool player, but I'm just another middle-of-the-roader. I'm dead money in the
question from chat real quick. Tyson Brown just coming in, who is playing. We have Brian Parks on the table in the red from Bakersfield, California. And then James Adams is the other gentleman. I actually don't see him on the camera right now.
Well, he's standing somewhere. I don't know.
I'm sure he's close by. But James Adams is the gentleman in the black, and I believe he's from right here in Florida. Spring Hill.
Spring Hill. It's just up
James is
the
from
road.
Spring Hill, Florida. He plays out of Capone's Billiards, who, as I mentioned before, Rocky McElroy is the owner, and he's like a mentor, father figure kind of guy. He's a great guy. I'm sure he's teaching James all kinds of moves, since he can break and run 10-ball all day long. So
I really like that shot there, playing for the the 10 ball, I believe this is the 10 ball, into the side pocket. He doesn't have to do much. The 11 ball goes into the upper right pocket, also goes in the side pocket. The question is whether or not the 8 ball goes past the 3. If it doesn't, then he'll go on the high side of the 11 ball to come back down table and play the 8 ball up table. If it does, he'll go to as straight as he can to the 11 ball. Just slide over for the 8.
Another question from chat. George Hernandez says, where is this at? Of course, we are in Palm Harbor, Florida in November, so we are all very happy people. If you're interested in qualifying for the event, the information that you need will be found on poolplayers.com/USAM. There's a form on there that you can fill out. We will notify you when they hold the preliminary tournaments and where those tournaments are going to be held. And hopefully come down here in November, and we'll see you on stream.
Brian stunned that ball very hard to get above the 11 ball. That tells me the 8 ball does not pass the 3, and he's going to bump into the 1 ball after this shot, play the 8 ball right in the side pocket. Very nicely done, and dead straight in the 8 ball in the side pocket.
So what do you think about Brian's stroke?
Perfect. I do a little bit of instruction, and this is the way I like to mentor people how to shoot. It's a set, pause, finish style of stroking, head still, elbow still. I'm sure he's taken lessons and gives lessons himself. In my opinion, it's about middle of the roaders for me. Middle of the road players, that consistent set, pause, finish is probably the easiest way to teach. The other way, of course, to get better at this game is you hit a million balls and you can do whatever you want. But in this case, Brian is definitely someone to watch and emulate if you want to get better at this game as quickly as you can without having to hit a million balls. Nothing wrong with hitting a million balls. But you could do a lot worse than watching Brian Parks and his stroke.
Couple people in the chat asking for the names and the score graphic. There you go.
There it is.
We're going to go ahead and drop this down so we catch all of the break.
Brian looked very good in that last track. I think he probably has the table down now. 8 balls flying all over the place. And if he makes a ball, which he did, another dry break, and a big cluster.
Was that the hand flip?
The other flip there, the hand flip.
Paying homage to the pool gods.
That's right.
Brian Black from chat says he has hit a million balls.
That's right. He has hit a million balls. Absolutely hit a million balls, but also uses what I call the Buddy Hall stroke.
This is James Adams at the table for anybody who's coming new to the chat room or new to the stream.
So James is going to look at these balls. If a ball comes out of this stack, which one is it? And if a ball has to go into the stack, which one is it?
Your buddy David Sapala says Brian's biggest strength is that he believes in himself. How important is the mental game in visualizing the victory?
Well, you know, people say that this game is all mental, and it's not. You have to have a physical game. The mental aspect of it is what defines where your physical game is going to show up here. You know, so if we say your physical game is 100, let's just say, your mental game is going to define how much of that 100 you're going to
gets
there.
Makes sense.
It's not like if you have this great mental game, you're going to be better than you ever were. That's impossible.
Sure. So you still got to have some skills.
You better have some
skills.
skills.
Your mental game makes sure that you get to where your skills are
right,
so you can execute.
If this 11 ball actually goes in the corner pocket, the 11 ball, the striped red ball, then James can just play position for it and then go back up table. He has plenty of balls to work with up table. If it doesn't go, he's going to have to do some magic to get it out. It looks like it goes cleanly, the 11 ball. See how close the 11 ball is on the 6 ball. It looks like it's actually frozen to it. There's probably only one angle you want to attack it from. Doesn't look like he's trying to do any kind of breaking of that ball. I think he's just trying to play position, try to get dead straight on it. Gonna have to ask the referee to come over, I think. No, he must see enough of it. Full in the face, draw it out.
Yeah, Brian doesn't look concerned about it
no,
either.
No, he doesn't look concerned
He's
about it at
not
all.
looking at the table.
If there were no 2 and 3 here, you could tell no problem with what hits first. But with the 2 and 3 there, it's tough to see the
another angle,
movement.
see if that helps.
Looks like the 6 won't even move if he draws it out. It did move, but it was a good hit. I would have been concerned, at least to look at it.
And we do have several floor people here ready to look at shots.
Another interesting here that he doesn't want to take for granted. The angle on the 14 is crucial because you can only get up to the 9 ball from a certain angle. So you look at that, and then you'll go over and look to the right side of the 9 to see where the cue ball can be over here. You know, it must be clean because he just kind of peeked at it. So there's an angle he was fighting for. And I expect this one to roll all the way to the rail. But he hasn't looked over there, so it must lay easier than I think. Oh, now he's going to go over there. You might want to have looked at that earlier. Now, it is easy because see where his stick is like that? That tells me there's a plenty of room to go over there. Always have to just be guarding against hitting this one too slow. Beautiful. It's so beautiful that he actually may have come up short. That'd be crazy if he has to draw this ball
Yeah, I
out.
don't know if we see it better from that angle
No,
a little bit.
Beautiful.
Again, if you're just joining
Very,
us,
very nicely done.
if you're just joining us, we are in Palm Harbor, Florida. It's Strokers in the U.S. Amateur Championship, day 3. The tournament will be wrapping up our last round today. The finals match will be at 7 o'clock, I believe, off the top of my head. All right, James wraps that rack up. And again, if this is a tournament that you're interested in playing in, definitely check out poolplayers.com/USAM. Fill out that form. We'll get you the preliminary tournament information, the qualifying tournaments, and hopefully we'll see you out here.
Question came through from the conversation earlier. I mentioned that Brian Parks has the Buddy Hall stroke. That would be the set, pause, finish stroke. Buddy Hall is you know, one of the most proficient people at it. He's the one to emulate, but certainly people like Allison Fisher and Karen Kaur and Niels Fayen do a set at the front, a pause at the back of his at his last stroke, and a finish with the grip hand coming to the same spot. The set, pause, finish approach is I think that might be patented by the Q-Tech Pool School and Randy Getlicker.
So the score is James Adam with 3 racks, Brian Parks with 1 rack. Throw that score graphic up there while they're getting the rack all situated.
I said patented. I may have meant registered, or at the very least coined.
We'll
or
contact our
whatever.
lawyer and
That's
see what the
right.
right word
One
is.
of those words that says that that's their IP, his IP, their IP, the Q-Tech Pool School.
Insert correct technical term.
That's right.
Timmy asked if I will be at Ballpark Village again this year on the 30th. You know what? I don't know. I've not been told one way or the other. I certainly hope so. Timmy's referring to the Ballpark Village event where some of the Moscone players came last year and did an exhibition match prior to playing in the Moscone Cup. A lot of good time. Really good time, actually. Place was packed. Got to meet Shane Van Boning for the first time, and Corey, I think Corey Duell I met, and Skyler, I met Skyler.
Excellent.
Yeah, good group of guys. It was a fun event.
This year, the Moscone Cup is in England or somewhere in the UK.
Across the pond.
Across the pond. It was my great pleasure to do some commentary work with Mark Wilson, the captain of Team America at the U.S. Open. Mark is a great guy, great teacher.
Yep, I've also met Mark. He, Lindenwood's, of course, right down the street from the APA National Office, so we head down there quite a bit. Last time I was there, Jeanette was coming in saying hi to Mark, and I think doing an exhibition there.
James broke from the head ball this time, and the ball, no ball has been made in the break. There may have been a ball in the break earlier, but I haven't. I don't believe so. Somebody can correct us, some stat people. It is not a wide open rack again. The 13-2, as you can see, the 13, the orange striped ball, and the 2 ball, the blue ball, are tied up. Everything else looks fairly open, so that's what Brian's got to consider: how to negotiate, how to bump out, and how to run out. Steve, how much pool do you play? Are you you're in the leagues there?
We have an in-office league that I get the pleasure of playing. I do get to see a lot of league night. Obviously, I cover all the tournaments, so I watch more pool than I play, for sure.
That's
and
all right.
I also get the pleasure of making all of the videos with Lee Brett, Dr. Q, Jeanette Lee. So I get a lot of exposure.
That's some strong exposure right there.
Yeah, and it's even better for me because I have to edit all the videos, so I'm watching the same clip again and again and again and again. I got a lot of information in the head, but like you said, my heart's in it. Skill level isn't necessarily where I'd like to be to execute some of the things that I
Well, of course,
intellectually understand, I guess I should say.
the other part of this game is you actually have to play it. You have to play it a
That-
lot. No
that is
matter
a
no
thing.
matter what you get from the mental side, this is a physical game. Or
Right.
what we touched on earlier. Your physical game defines how good your game can be, and
Absolutely.
your mental game defines how good your game is of that moment.
I would agree completely. No substitute for actually getting on the table and knocking the balls around, for sure.
Well, that was an interesting shot. There's a bigger hand. When the hand flip is one thing, with the head shake, that's a completely different thing. He came up way short on his ball. In fact,
Different from the hand flip.
That's right. That's much aggressive, and he's certainly blaming himself on that one.
That's another thing I notice in really strong pool players is they take responsibility for their shot. They don't blame this, they don't blame that. They go, you know what, I didn't stroke it correctly, I didn't do this or that.
Well, certainly champions do. You know, the champions make their own breaks here. It's normally not just one weird roll that determines a set.
Another question
Brian
from the
went for a
chat.
flyer there.
Phil asked, where is this tournament? Again, we are in Palm Harbor, Florida. Thank you for joining the stream. It's we're at Strokers.
So far, Brian has just taken off balls here, and I know that he came up short on that one shot, so now he's kind of scrambling. Because fairly soon, he's not going to have enough balls on the table to defend. If he keeps on rolling, he's got there. Well, here he goes. This is going to be the magic shot here. He's got to cut this 15 ball, and have the cue ball goes down table and then back up table to try to tap on the 13 and not get hooked. Let's see.
Chat's having a very lively discussion about SPF
Oh, yes.
and sunblock.
Not that SPF. So, as you can see there, Brian successfully broke out his ball, but unfortunately he didn't make the ball in the side pocket. And so the end result is that everything's wide open. The good news for him is that it's not exactly a hanger for his first shot. Straight on the one ball. I expect James to be shooting that ball. I don't see another ball that's really available to shoot at. And it is an easy shot, except for given the circumstances that you're playing on the stream. Up 3-1, and you really need to get a good lead against a Brian Parks, because playing 9-ball, Brian is probably the best break-and runner here in 9-ball in this tournament.
So actually, that leads me into a question from the chat. Andy O'Brien says, what's the general strategy of 8-ball being chosen as the first format?
I think it's exactly that. There's two parts, in my opinion, is that 8-ball allows you to get in stroke because you can make a few mistakes in position play and you have the backup plan. And the other is you cannot lose on 8-ball because it's a race to 7 and you only play 5 games of 8-ball. If you chose 9-ball, it is very possible at winner's breaks that a guy break and runs a set on you.
Gotcha. So you might walk into the 8-ball rounds down,
Right.
way down.
Way down.
And it's harder to come back from the 8-ball set?
Well, the 8-ball set it's only a race to 5, so
Sure.
so you can't lose since if you start off with the 8-ball.
Gotcha.
I doubt people are thinking that way, that you can't lose. I really do believe it's I have my best chance to keep on getting up at the table and get in stroke if we play 8-ball.
Yeah,
That being said, 8-ball is generally, I'm saying this in general, easier to run out than 9-ball because you have those choices, but it's harder to make a ball in the break.
Right. Chat says it also gives you more of an opportunity to stay on the table because you're actually going to get more times to go up and just hit balls, get used to how the table rolls and things like that.
Well, I alluded to that when you can make mistakes make mistakes on the position and still get to shoot.
Sure. Makes a lot of sense. Andy says that's exactly the answer that he thought you would say. Well, Andy, I'm glad we gave you some confirmation in your life.
That's right. Meanwhile, we're in a situation where James has choices of every ball on the table except for the 7, and sometimes that becomes too much. Sometimes you just want one choice or 2 choices. The 3-ball is the tricky ball only because optically it can confuse people, and the 7-ball is a tough ball because it's near the rail. But it feels like he's going to play for the 3-ball next, and as soon as I say that, I don't think he got there.
Well, let's see this other angle here.
No, he's going to shake his head. There he goes.
Yep. And you see the smile. He knows.
He knows, and now he's sort of left that 2 balls near each other type of situation again, and I only point it out because it's hurt me many, many times. and this cue ball playing the 6 ball is going the wrong way, he'll be out of position for either of these balls for quite some time before he gets to the center of the table. Watch the cue ball go 2 rails around, I believe 2 rails around, towards the center of the table.
Try to come back for the 3, or
Going for the 3 or 4, because they both go. But see how long that cue ball was in play before it ever got to see
Yeah.
the 3 or 4, right?
oh, that looks pretty darn good.
Well, if there was a problem, and sometimes I speak of no problem, there's a head shake there, and I know what he's thinking. He's absolutely, it's too straight on the 3 ball. So his choice is either to float forward for a long 7 or a long 4, or draw back for the 4, but I think he wanted the 4 last.
Gotcha.
Yes, the-
See, I just learned something amazing right there. That straight on shot isn't necessarily good because you can't play.
Yeah.
It's harder to play position off the key.
You
See,
know,
I'm learning.
you would think that, oh my goodness, he shot this perfectly, and he's thinking, why couldn't I have landed just 1 inch shorter or 1
Yeah,
inch
but then we saw the
farther?
head shake.
Exactly, you know. Drawing straight back here, I think, and I think he's trying to play for the 7, I believe.
Oh, he brought it back.
He brought it back and chunked it just a hair, but that's probably, I think that's about the best of it. Because now he just sort of slow rolls the 7. And again, this is not something you want hanger outs, not suddenly it's a tough out. And it all came back to when he was playing for the 3 ball and came just short of it.
Right.
That's when the first
had
head,
to go
the first
back
head
down.
shake, right?
I guess up.
Slide across. And big
Oh.
pocket. And you notice he slightly undercut that, and he came up just a hair short. And he may have to drive this ball and slide across if it's not dead straight. He didn't shake, so it must be dead
So
straight.
it must look good. So stop shot.
You see the cue ball just a hair coming to the left. If he had come up just a hair shorter, he would have had to pound that ball.
Yeah, and you see Brian just give him the rack. There you go.
There's one of those concessions that you can't do in certain tours. Apparently you can do it here.
Yes.
And you know what? When it's dead straight and so close, I don't mind that one. It's the tougher ones when somebody concedes. I kind of raise my eyebrows at.
Sure,
like,
make him shoot it, yeah.
You know.
We actually we saw this yesterday too. I think I'm trying to remember who did it, but they it was Shades that did it, and Robert Hall that conceded 2 racks. And there was one 9-ball rack where it still even needed to shoot the 8 and 9, and he just conceded
Yeah.
it to it, and it kind of caused the chat to go on up.
Sure. I mean, let me just kind of go through my, now that I'm taking a quick break here, what's in my head. If you concede let's stay on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the hardest, if you concede a 5 or a 6 early in the match, that tells me later in the match, it's going to make a difference because you didn't get a chance to shoot the middle tough shot because the guy conceded to you. And then now when it's down late at the match, you didn't get a chance to shoot it and be loose and
Right.
feeling good about
and
it.
have dealt with that pressure.
Every pool player knows this. If you concede, you know this. Those who say it's not a big deal don't know it. It's not, you know, it's only had
Gotcha.
to have happened to you one time for you to know this is, whether it's on purpose or not purpose, you know.
That it's actually does have a big effect on
you
the match.
bet
Interesting.
you bet it does.
Interesting. I'm learning a lot today. I should hang out with you more, Freddie. Real quick, while we have a break here, let's go ahead and talk about membership. If you don't already play in the APA and you're interested in actually becoming a league member, playing on league night, hanging out with your friends, having a beer, shooting some pool, getting better at the sport, and I always look at it like church during the week. You get to hang out with your friends and have a good time. Definitely go to poolplayers.com, fill out that form on there, and we'll get you all the information you need. We'll get you on a team, and we'll get you playing.
So we got a question on the last rack where I kept talking about the 3 ball, and I said the 3 ball was optically difficult because it laid close to and between the 8 ball and I believe it was the 4 ball that was hanging out there. The difficulty lies into how to play position to it. You know, a lot of our shots end up being very speed sensitive when you're playing position. And if it's wide open, there doesn't seem to be an issue, or there's less issue to get it perfectly on the line that you're looking for, to lay the ball down right there. But in that case, the 8 and 4 were just sitting there, even though there was a huge space to put the cue ball.
Right.
I believe it was James that was trying to get to it. He underhit it, and if those 8 and 4 wasn't there, but if he wanted to hit that same window, I believe that he would have had no problem. You know,
Sure.
it starts getting difficult when other balls are kind of hanging out there, in the same spot that you're trying to play position, especially if it creates a window like that.
Sure.
And there are other instances in this case, where balls sitting next to each other start making your eyes go crazy. They're like bothersome or something.
Sure.
But whatever
It's kind
you're
of like
feeling,
that fly in the corner of your eye.
right,
It just
right.
keeps distracting
That's right.
you
They're
a little
distracting.
bit.
They're
Yeah.
they're a little bit distracting, and suddenly your whole body mechanics and your whole body system trying to get a perfect shot speed control wise gets confused
Sure,
by
it just kinda messes with you.
a little bit too much information overload in your eyes.
That makes sense. That does make sense. Let's see what else we got up here.
It's one reason people like to play line position, because where this comes up, like I was just talking about, is when you have to play across what we call the line. So a line position is if you draw a line from the object ball to the corner pocket or whatever pocket you're playing to, trying to travel the cue ball down that line or up that line playing position, then this issue of this optical delusion hurts you less. But if you're playing across it, it comes up, and you have to recognize and get through it.
For sure. So if you guys are enjoying the stream and you want to try your hand at the U.S. Amateur Championship, we got our entry window that opens April 1st, and preliminary rounds are held in September. Obviously, this is all next year, to win a trip to the 2000. Is that the right graphic? I don't think that's the right graphic.
2018.
Yeah, it'd be 17. Yep, wrong
2017.
year on that, so we'll change that out. Regardless, though, definitely go to poolplayers.com/USAM, and because again, the entry window is not for a few months, and the preliminary rounds are not for a few months after that. Fill out that form. We'll get you on a mailing list that will keep you in the loop on what's happening when, and that way you get the opportunity to come to beautiful Florida, Palm Harbor at Strokers, and come hang out with us, and not only take part in some amazing pool, but to get to watch some amazing pool, to get to meet, you know, the Brian Parks, the James Adams, the Ernesto Bayawas, and all of our former champions, and Henry Broats, and James. I mean, the list goes on.
The list goes on and on. Things like Robert Hall.
Yeah, James Rowley from Alabama, and a lot of quality players. And I would have to say, and Frank, I'd love to get your opinion on this. You go to a lot of tournaments.
Yep.
I would have to say the sportsmanship at this event is top notch.
Well,
everyone's getting along. Everyone's giving tips to each other.
all of
It's a
these
pretty cool
guys
environment.
are sort of cut from the same cloth and came up. They're in the same position where they're, you know, some of the best amateur players that still are connected to the leagues. It's
Right.
a whole different mentality if you're not connected to the leagues and you do a lot of amateur tournaments, or if you're connected to the leagues and don't do these kind of higher level tournaments.
Sure.
And these are the best of those, of all the different areas.
Now that scorecard in the back is incorrect. James does in fact have 4 racks
4.
versus Brian's 1. If you're just joining us on the stream, we got Brian Parks in the red shirt. James Adams is the gentleman in the black shirt. Just walked off camera.
Interesting here, you know, after 5 games of 8-ball, the score stands 4-1, and they switched to 9-ball. James's break was not very solid, and the corner ball did not go in. I don't know if he was trying to cut break. I don't believe he was, but we'll see how that works out later on here. There's no push out here. Is that correct? Nope. I know there's a handful of rules that are slightly
I do think
different.
they can push.
Oh, okay. I think I've asked this before.
I'm
and,
pretty sure they can push.
Well, he went for it as if there was no push out available.
Gotcha.
He certainly looked like he could have pushed out to a better spot. He went for the whole ball of wax there.
Now on league night, there's no push because it obviously does
Correct.
favor the stronger player. But these
Right.
guys are all strong.
Yeah.
They know what a push is. They know how to use it.
Uh-oh. James is picking lint off the table, and that's the Johnny Archer move, and that never bodes well. But he's in the lead, so you'd expect him to not be doing that.
I'm learning a lot.
Well, and quite honest, what it really means, and all joking aside, is that if a piece of lint to the side of the cue ball distracts you, then you've got other things going on. You see, dog the ball, where I expect him to make it, and you know.
Yeah, that's not a shot he would normally miss.
And I'm not saying picking the lint made him miss the shot. What I am saying is he was already distracted.
Sure.
That's what I'm thinking. Brian's
Yeah.
switching to the right hand here, thinning this ball for the 2 ball in the corner pocket.
I know Lee Brett would have instructed him to come back off the table, reset,
Reset,
redo your
that's right.
pre-shot routine, get your mind right, and then take the shot. Chat's giving you credit. Says you called that one.
You see the thank you, chat. Brian had such a powerful stroke they just kind of wound up and smashed it back there. But it looks like he's got a slightly funky angle. The 4 ball, the purple ball down the bottom of the screen, only goes to the bottom left. Brian shoots a very nice follow inside English shot. That's a 3-rail shot, even though it only went 2 rails. Oh, it bumped the 3rd rail, but
There you just got there. Just got there.
It's a I would call that a standard advanced pattern. It might be shot number 6 on my 5 standard shots. 5 ball must go here. And remember I said earlier that, you know, if you're going to be playing Brian Parks, you want to do your best at 8 ball, because I believe that Brian is the clear favorite in, if this was just a winner break 9 ball tournament.
Yeah, Brian's definitely no slouch at 9 ball. That's
right.
no joke.
The way the 7 lays up there and the 8, they don't only goes in the bottom left pocket, so I expect this cue ball to be try to get as straight as possible on the 7 ball. A hair off here. Too far will be too far, and this is way too much speed.
Yeah,
and I'm telling you, this is. I'm not saying this. Brian is in dead stroke at this point. I think the cushions can get confusing. So suddenly, what ended up being an easy shot is now a little bit difficult.
Is that what you would call a quote-unquote bad roll?
No, it's just a little bit of you know, it's a speed control thing, and you know, you only have so many games to get used to it. If this was a race to 11.
Oof.
You know, you're not going to see that later on, but this is only the first 9 ball game here. Stroking out big strokes hasn't happened too much. Brian is down 4-1.
Man, not too many racks left to mess around.
Yeah, it certainly felt like he just needed to slow roll that. I don't want to second guess him, but he knew he needed to get it almost straight, and it looked like he fought to get it straight plus. He got a little bit too much plus.
Kevin Norris from chat says he just got that too hard.
Yeah, I mean, it might be, but I know that the cushions have confused people here on this table. This one is a little bit.
We've seen it on stream.
Yeah, over and over again on the stream.
As Alvin would call it, squirrely.
The squirrely table. A little bit of a tester here. If he can just follow it and miss the 9 ball, no problem. But if the 9 ball is in play, then he'll have a problem. Just tickled it.
Is he coming back?
He's okay. He's good. That could have gone awry, as they say. Not
You've
with
got
wheat,
great
but
words.
awry.
Would you say prognostication earlier, too? That was a great word. All right, James cleans up this rack.
James Adams is actually rolling here, and Brian made another little mistake, and Brian's got the grin going.
Yeah.
He's got the little bit of a grin going.
Brian's mental game is strong. He'll be, he knows what went wrong. He knows what he did. He'll correct it.
Can I just say this about Brian Parks? He is a heck of a nice guy.
He
really is.
He was actually giving tips to anybody who would want tips. It's amazing because you don't normally see that in competition. You don't help your, the person who might beat you across the table. But real quick, I want to bring up the rules for this. We had a couple questions in chat. This is a race to 7. It's a combination of 8 ball and 9 ball. It is 5 games. It's up to 5 games of 8 ball and up to 8 games of 9 ball. Double elimination. Whenever lag chooses break or format. So in this case, 8 ball was chosen first. So that's why they played 5 racks of 8 ball, and they're going to close out on 9 ball. So that is how we roll here. Let me update this score right quick. You can hear them at the table kind of talking about how fast that rail was.
Yeah.
And again, this is Brian Parks, who is currently racking. We got James Adams getting ready to break. I believe Brian Parks from Bakersfield, California, and I want to say James Adams from Spring Hill, Florida. So a little East Coast, West Coast battle going on with no rap involved. And there's your bad joke of the day. Boom. Got there. I am a dad, so I'm allowed to make really bad dad jokes. That is something I'm allowed to do. Chad, I appreciate it if you give me a courtesy giggle.
James didn't hit the 1 ball square last time, and he's breaking on the bed. Hit it pretty square that time, and the 1 ball rocketed in. Are there any balls left on the table?
I'm not sure.
I mean, 3 balls on the break. I mean, absolutely rocketed that corner ball in, which is what you expect a 9 ball when you hit it solidly and the rack is good. First shot is no picnic. Slow rolling this ball coming across the table. Everything is in play. The 9 ball and the corner pocket are in play. And the 3 ball goes nowhere. So quite a first shot here.
Little disappointed in chat. I only got 1 courtesy chuckle. Disappointed. I'm going to try harder.
Well, maybe I'll log on here and give you a chuckle.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Freddie. Big shout out to Ryan Panhorst, our St. Louis League operator, just joined the stream. Hello, Ryan.
Well, it looks like he'll slow roll this 2-ball, make it, and just see what he gets. Probably going to be playing safety after this, unless he can get it all the way to the left side rail. I highly doubt it. I'd be very surprised if he was shooting the 3-ball after this 2-ball. Oh, my goodness. Is he really thinking about jacking up 8 feet away with low left-hand English to come straight across the table between the 3 and the 7 to get perfect on the 3? Here we go. This shot is what I call shooting with the lead.
See some looseners there.
There you go.
Needs to be pretty loose to make this shot.
That's
huh?
right. Shooting with 7 o'clock.
Oh.
Trying, and he would have been above, maybe getting a luck. Instead, he gives up sellout. Not exactly the best choice there, I think.
You think you should have played safe there?
I think he should have either played safe right there or rolled the 2, which wouldn't have been a picnic. There's no bargain that he would have made the 2 and he could have hung it, and Brian has just safed himself.
Oh.
Maybe he knew Brian was going to do that, but I doubt it.
That's not a normal Brian Parks move there.
And I'll tell you, I mean, yeah, he dogged that one like crazy, and I'm thinking maybe that shot where he hit the ball, what he believes was too fast off the rails, that he slowed his stroke down because he certainly didn't have anything going on there. 3-rail kick at this, and he's just firing away, you know. Firing away, missed it. Don't touch it. Can't touch that ball when it's just about to rub another ball.
Yes. That is very true. We did a whole video about that, actually. I think Jason was the narrator in that video, and I think his the line that always sticks with me is, quote unquote, common sense must prevail.
Common
when
sense
picking the
must
cue ball
prevail. I
up.
like it. The 7 of the 8 is, I suppose, tricky, if you wanted to call it that. If you had ball in hand, you want to stay high of the line so you can float down to the 8 ball into the same pocket. So we'll see how he gets there. And when I say high of the line, if you draw a line from the 7 to the pocket, the high left pocket there, he wants to be the right side of that line. If he's on the left side, then he'll have to go around the other way. But ideally, he'd like to be just a hair high of the line to the pocket 7 ball. He's actually a hair low, so he'll have to shoot a little bit trickier. Every 9-ball player sees this shot all day long. 3 ways to play. Follow with inside, double the right corner with outside, or draw to the side rail and out. Which one would you do?
Which one would I do?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be at this table.
You
I'm
wouldn't be
not
at this
good
table,
enough,
okay.
to be honest with you, Frankie.
Drew to the side and out.
That's why you're here. You're the technical.
And this one ends up being another one of those standard shots that everybody should be able to play if they're going to play this game. It's 1 rail, 2 and through the center of the table. In this case, towards the 3rd diamond to the right side. 1 rail, 2 and through the center of the table to the 3rd diamond to the right side. Bounce off the rail. That's the way to play right there.
Let's put James on the hill. And I like how much time he even takes on what would be a simpler shot. You know, he wants to make sure his pre-shot routine is still strong.
That's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is earlier he had the same straight line of the game ball, and somebody conceded that ball.
Oh.
Again, I'm not saying that was on purpose or anything like that. That one's a little bit tougher, and you never would concede that one. But the easier one on the same line was conceded earlier on.
Sure.
Brian, if you're listening to this afterwards, I'm sort of just doing the commentary thing. Please forgive me. I know he wouldn't be doing some kind of shark move on purpose. But
No, yeah, Brian's way too nice for that. Benefit of the doubt, right?
Absolutely. The
Just-
cue ball ended just hair off the rail, so he needed, James did need to put a few more seconds on there, go through the pre-shot routine like you said.
Couple of questions from chat. We got Brad Moore. Is this the final day? Yes, it is. Semifinals and finals will be later on.
Again, James didn't hit that one as cleanly as the last one, and as you can see, no balls in the break.
Dry
but
again.
Absolutely dry. And if we were going to find out whether or not there's a push. I don't think there is a push out. Somebody really needs to come in here and yell at me because I need to know that.
No, there is. You can push for sure. He's just choosing not to.
Well, here we go.
Another question Justin Wilson asks, how tall is Brian? Well, let's say Brian is a little on the shorter side.
Yeah, I don't believe he wouldn't make it as a guard in the high school basketball team, I don't think. He pushed out to
Okay,
where?
so he did push.
So there's the answer. Obviously, you can push.
Yes. Yes, you can.
You know, a lot of people like to say, ask about where to push out strategy, and distance is certainly the first thing that I say. But
So the way push works is he hits it, and then James has the option
He
to
has
go,
the
I will
option.
take this shot, or you got to shoot it.
James in the lead with an open shot, he's going to fire at it. If he fired that last shot that he did in the last game, he's going
He's
to fire
definitely
at
going
this.
to shoot this one.
You know.
It's a lot of green to get through, though.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Brian can get something going here. He's this is do or die. This rack.
That's right. This you got a man on the hill, and a man who's still trying to climb off the first step of the ladder.
Yep.
The 3 ball goes in either pocket, so both positions are good. I think that most people are going to just, well, actually, I'm saying most people. The 5 and 7 kind of, 5 and 8 make this pattern a little bit funny, but it feels like he's going to go 2 rails around that 5-8 pair. With the extension, I suppose he could do anything he wants, but either way, he could go straight down and miss the 8. It looks like he's hitting low, so he's going to the outside. And he 2-tonned it and went too far unless he's coming back up table. He's got to shake his head on this one. For sure he was playing the 3 ball in the lower left pocket.
Just hit it too hard, or?
Yeah, I think he wanted to draw more into when he hit that ball so that it came up short, but as you could see, he actually he flirted with hitting the 5, so he didn't go deep enough in the corner pocket. I'm sure he wanted to go more.
Safety. Chat says that Brian's been known to put up 6 packs.
Absolutely.
I think I've seen him do it.
Yeah.
See, he's back there shaking his head.
Shaking
though.
his head, he's getting a little confused with the table, and he's down 6-1. That's going to work against everybody. James going to try to play safety here. The angle is just funny enough that he can't just roll this ball. Or he can roll it, but the cube, he's not going to get much distance, but he may be able to hook him by on the 5. It's just funny enough, that angle.
Just joining the stream, we have James Adam here at the table. We have Brian Parks in the back.
It looks like he's actually kicking at this 3 ball. The funny, no, he got there. See how odd that angle was? That,
Yeah,
and all he's done is laid it up for a shot.
yeah.
I know he wanted to do something else, maybe hit it a little fuller, but the angle was a little funny. Tough shot for a guy that's, you know, down 6-1. He's got
This
to
is
put
where
a
the mental
tremendous,
game comes in.
tremendous shot here just to play for something that doesn't go too well. I think this 9 is too high for the carom. Don't believe he's doing that. Yeah, it's very tough for the mental game at this point. I don't think he's going to be in give-up mode.
Oh, yeah, not Brian.
Not this guy.
No,
Not this guy.
he's a fighter. He will play to that last 9. I don't know. Why are we getting mad faces, chat? Is it because of what's going on the table, or you don't think my jokes are funny?
Ooh, that's a nice safety.
Here, I'm going to put some hearts up there.
Great safety there. Very little rail to go. You have to, if he's going to go to the inside of this 6 ball, he has to flirt with the side pocket. There's not much space to be able to get down there and not hit the 6 ball. He may be able to go straight at the 4, just nick the left side of that 4 ball.
Thank you, chat. Jason Bowman, the director of marketing, came over and he says, "Why are you getting all the mad faces?" I'm like, I don't know. Why are we getting all the mad faces? Something specific
So
to
look
Facebook
at this. I
Live.
love it. I like it. I like it.
And they let us know how we're doing.
Well, maybe they're saying mad when Brian didn't get out.
Yeah, I'm assuming.
hope.
Yeah, it's what's going on the table.
Yeah.
We're being pretty safe up here.
Well, Brian has another opportunity to get out here, and he really needs to get something going, or else he's going to be sitting down for a while. Good news is this rack is lays pretty easy for him at this point.
Yeah, it seems to be all right where it needs to be.
I know why he's shaking his head. He is about a ball short of this 7-ball line, and now he's going to move the ball instead of just stopping it. He can't just float it, I don't think, unless he uses a touch of inside. I think he has to smack this ball. He did use a touch of inside. You can see the spin there, and he had to draw it into there. Straight follow and don't hit it too hard.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Looks
Just
pretty good to
keep
me.
it like that.
Is this the first of a 6-pack?
Maybe. This is the man to be able to do it.
Brian takes that rack. We'll get you a score update here, guys. Now 6-2, James is on the hill. If you're just joining us, Brian Parks is the gentleman in the red, getting ready to break. James Adams is the gentleman in the black, who's currently racking. The chat says, Matt Munowich says, that's how it starts.
That's how it starts. A 6-pack can only start with the first one.
Right. So you're saying is Brian is lulling him into a false
false
sense of confidence.
Well, to that point, James has taken a couple of flyers, and I've said it a couple times. He shot that shot like a man with a lead. Yeah.
oh, I get it now. With lead shot. I understand.
If he wasn't in the lead, he'd be doing something else to try to claw back. But I think he was thinking that, hey, he's already in free full stroke. That if he makes some of those flyers, he's going to get out. Very strong break there. Lost the cue ball going forward, but does have a shot in the 1 ball.
That's good.
And the 3 ball goes. So when Brian makes this 1 ball, the cue ball should float just as long as he doesn't get behind the 7 ball. And the 7 ball is huge, so
Charles,
it doesn't look like he's floating at all. 2 rails around. Wow, that's some tough action here.
oof.
Tough action from that distance.
Okay.
He slopped it in and perfect on the 3. Well, I say perfect on 3. He looks like he's a hair high. I can't tell by the angle here.
Let's see if we can get you a better one. That's our other shot here.
He is a little bit high, but if he was able to hold that 7 ball in the last rack, he should be able to hold this ball. Slow rolled it to get there,
Get in
and
the
that's
pocket. There you
perfect.
go.
Perfect.
Sarah Parks, which is Brian Parks' wife, just said, got lucky. Shout out to Sarah. She's a wonderful person. Welcome to the stream. I'm sure you've been watching the whole time. This is the
That's
first
right.
comment I've seen from you.
Low right hand English, just spin it up table. You know, some people believe that you shouldn't play with a lot of English, but this is 9 ball. There's going to be shots that are absolutely standard that you better be able to go as far out as you can.
For sure.
Like that shot. You're supposed to shoot that with low right hand English, nothing else. Brian has come up a little short again, and there's another one where he's going to float a ball, I think. He floated the 3, he may float the 7. Oh, he's looking down table like he wants to stroke this. No.
Going to the side.
You see him look down table. I was like, wait, isn't he
He's
just
just doing
supposed to
that for
float?
you, just to kind of throw you
That's
off your
right.
game.
Looked like he was going to float it, and he did float it. But maybe he looked down table just to peek.
Brandon Scott says Sarah is his worst critic,
There
or
you
best
go.
critic, I guess.
Best critic. You need the critic.
Yeah, oh yeah. How you get better if someone isn't going to help you. That's
That's
a good
right.
wife, too, man, to help you out. Because I'm sure everybody else is like, oh, Brian, you're great. You're
Yeah.
great.
That one there is a standard 2-railer with outside English, doubling the corner to the center of the table. Very,
There you go.
very standard 9-ball pattern shot. All the guys that I talk to at home about patterns and position play probably get sick of me saying that. Standard shot number 1.
Shout out to Michelle Henry, who's also joined us in the chat. Michelle Henry is also another one of our league operators. Also saw Mark Goki floating around in our chat. Another one of our league operators. Both awesome people.
Somebody's asking here about how tall James is.
He's tall. Probably 6'2", you think? Somewhere in that range?
I think it's something like that. He just looks much bigger than Brian because Brian is about my height, which would
Yeah.
be really saying how short he is.
I'm not exactly a roaring giant myself, so.
A ball has gone in the pocket, but I don't know if you can see the 1 ball. I believe you can, actually. Let's take a look at it from the other angle. From the camera number 1.
Oh. Ooh, let me turn that graphic off. Sorry about that.
And if you can see this 1 ball, it's hanging in the pocket. Just straight follow and See what you can get with the 2 ball in the corner pocket. Slow rolling. In there, 2 ball in the corner pocket. And he's off to the races.
There you go.
Off to the races.
Luke.
Last game he did get fortunate in lucking the 1 ball and fluking the 1 ball in after taking
Yeah.
a really difficult first shot at it. But now he's played an easy one and everything's wide open here.
This could be another rack. Shout out to Luke Garrett. He says 6'2", ha, got nothing on me. And I know Luke Garrett personally. The man is not short. At least 8 foot tall. At least he thinks he's 8 foot tall.
Looks like he's going to go back and forth with this shot. Got to go. Nicely done. And the 7 ball hanging by the side pocket makes this shot, the 5 ball, much easier because you don't have to try to play perfect position on the 6. Play it in a position where you just have to cinch the 6. Hang on, hang on. Oh, wow.
Wow.
Perfect. I think it rolled. Yeah, see, and then Brian just made the move. It rolled into a better position than it was going.
I like it. Is that a new move? We saw the hand flip, the head shake, and now that's the roll.
Yeah, you see, he did this
Yeah, I
hand
saw that.
gesture.
I'm
No, but
into
you
it.
guys can't see that, but he definitely did this rolled hand gesture.
I'm thinking. I'm in the marketing team at
That's
APA.
right. Watch your speed here. This was the cushion he had a problem on before. This was the cushion he had a problem on before. Look what happened.
He just gave it to him.
And he conceded the
Man,
game.
wow.
Boy, that you feel for him there because I do
Yeah.
believe that he got confused with the 2 railer. Those are the same 2 cushions that he got weird on before, and he got weird on at that time either. And you certainly don't expect him to ever get bad in that position. But we've all done it, and I think, well,
That's a
James
rough-
Adams moves on in the winner's side. Brian Parks goes to the west side.
Yep. Yes.
And-
What a rough way to go. I like that. The West.
The west side versus the east side. That's how it went out. So 2016 U.S. Amateur Championship. This was the 11 o'clock match.
Yep.
This
Next
is
match, I believe, is at 1 p.m. Eastern.
1 p.m. This is
which
Freddie Agnier here with
is-
Steve Alejandro.
Yep.
And Steve, great match.
Absolute. Good pleasure. Hopefully,
And,
we'll see you back
and we'll
commentating.
see you
Just
all
wanted
at
to shout
1
out
p.m.
one more time, poolplayers.com/USAM. If this is a tournament that you're interested in playing, we have our registration in a few months and then our preliminary qualifying tournament rounds after that. So definitely fill out that form on poolplayers.com/USAM. We'll keep you in the loop on when that goes on, and hopefully we'll see you playing against Brian Parks and James Adams.
And this is InsidePool.tv at Strokers Billiards in Palm Harbor, Florida. We'll see you at 1.
See you at 1.
Hi, my name is James Adams. I'm from Brooksville, Florida, born and raised in Spring Hill. Look at you. Born and raised in Spring Hill.
Cool. Where do you play out of?
I play out of Capone's Billiards. It's owned and operated by Rocky McElroy, and he's a big help. He helps me get to all the tournaments across the country pretty much.
That's where you live at?
Yep, I live 30 minutes down the road from him.
So you play out of there quite a bit?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, we have a tap league there, and I also play APA there, and we hold a lot of tournaments there as well. I've been playing since I was 17, so about 9 years. In the beginning, it was hard. I had to spend a lot of time practicing. I mean, when I went to college, probably 19 is where I started playing 10, 12 hours a day because, when you're going to college, you don't have a whole lot of things to do. And I practiced about 10 hours a day for a year straight, 2 years straight, and that helped things. And after that, I got to travel around a little bit playing. Yeah.
What do you love about the game?
You can never learn it. You can just play it, and then no matter how many times you think you've got it, it finds a way to humiliate you again. And it's a beautiful game. There's not another game like this.
Everybody agrees with that.
Yeah.
Very much so. Sure. When you're in tournaments like this and you're playing really well, and all of a sudden you make a bad shot, just way off.
Yep.
How does that affect your game?
It does, but you have to try to find your own way of evading that. You don't want to snowball, so when you hit a bad shot, you gotta find your own way of forgetting it. Have a short-term memory in this game.
And we've heard that from so many players. Exactly the same thing. Well, opposite of that, when you're playing and you got a really tough shot, you got out of shape somehow, and all of a sudden you made that shot and you're right back where you were. How does that go in your game?
I don't know. It's what you expect to do. So there's certain times where you come with a real big shot and you get pumped up and you feel it, but most of the time you just carry about your business because that's what you intend to do.
Right. And so you kind of put that behind you also, just like.
Yeah, it's kind of, you want to stay in the middle. You know, you don't want to get too low and you don't want to get too high. And you know, the bad shots can make you feel low, the good shots make you feel high, and you know, you just got to balance it and stay right in the middle. Pay attention to what you're doing and not what you're, you know, what I mean, what you're trying to do, not what you're doing.
Well, how do you feel that you're doing in the AMA championships?
I'm doing okay. I'm still trying to find my game. You know, I've played a little better each match, and I'm hoping that, you know, by the time that I get to the end of it, I'm going to play real well.
So far, you're doing excellent. We just watched your last match.
Thanks.
And you won with 7-2, I was, or
7-3.
Great job. You
Thanks.
played excellent there. How has pool affected your life, and do your family and friends support you?
In the beginning, my friends made fun of me, and they got tired of the long hours going to the pool room. But got a wonderful wife, my wife Jen, and she means the world to me. But she pushes me every day to go out and practice, and goes with me to all the tournaments. And she's a major factor in my life, and everybody in my life supports me. Everyone back home at Capone's, and I got a real big support group. A lot of people believe in me, and it's real nice.
Yeah, cool. Anybody you want to say hi to, or sponsors?
Yeah, please. I want to say hi to Eric Kwan, Molinari. I want to say hi to Kyle and Janie and Jessica, Mike, everybody at Predator Group. Thanks a lot, guys. And, of course, Rocky McElroy over at Capone's. Couldn't do it without y'all. My wife, Jen, and everybody back home. There's hundreds of you. I couldn't say it all, you know, but your support really does matter a lot.
Anything else you want to say, or final thoughts or advice for anybody?
Practice hard, play hard, and come have fun. Enjoy yourself.